Good afternoon, everyone. I hope you're well. So today we're going to go through a live SEO training workshop. This is not a presentation. This hasn't been pre-planned. I'm just going to walk you through how I investigate Google Analytics, how I investigate ubersuggest. Mark from Holiday Homes in Italy has kindly joined us and given us permission to share it with you. So as I say, this is just going to be a real-time walkthrough. By all means, ask me any questions as I go through. I think you know the drill by now. So we've got the Q&A section, which you can add your questions into, and you've got the chat window so that you can talk via the chat system. If we need to get clarification or speak through anything, by all means, I can open up your microphone and we can talk ourselves through it. So if any of you are interested in getting a one-to-one in this situation with your website, whether it be CMS training or SEO training, by all means, let me know and we will get you booked on, because I want to do more of these so that I'm helping you, but I'm also helping everyone else at the same time. And you guys can go away with the skills to actually continuously maintain this yourself. So my goal for doing these things is that you have an understanding of Google Analytics, you have an understanding of SEO, so that when you're adding properties, when you're adding pages, you can have a go at this yourself and you're comfortable with what you're doing and you know you're going to be getting results at the end of it. Even if you have an SEO company, these sessions are going to be invaluable, because like everything, everyone has a fear of going to the garage because the mechanic will tell them some I'm going to say, some bullshit story. I couldn't find a nice word, sorry. And you just sit there nodding your head because you haven't really got a clue what they're going on about. It's the same thing can happen with SEO, and it's so important. But also the thing with SEO is it takes a bloody long time to do it all. So even if you've got an SEO agency working for you, whatever you can do to support them is going to boost your website, and that's what we're trying to do. And if you're not using an SEO agency, now is obviously not the time to be signing up with an SEO agency. So, and you've got more time on your hands, so now you can put your own time into good use so that your rankings can improve, so that when customers are starting to look and book again, your website is in the best positions for your particular niche. So before I start, can everyone hear me okay? Has anyone got any questions? Is there anything in particular that you want me to go through? Put it onto the message now. I'll give you a couple of minutes. Otherwise, I shall dive into what I've been discussing with Mark just for the last 5-10 minutes. Okay. So everyone is good. So let's dive in. So first of all, I'm in no way affiliated to this, but after looking at various different tools, ubersuggest from Neil Patel is the most cost effective. So if you do want to put your domain into some software to track everything for you, then from the testing that we've done over the last couple of weeks, this seems to be the best option on the market for the price. So you can do the free version as well. And as you can see, if I go onto my dashboard, I've got 30 holes, I've got Holiday Homes in Italy, and I've got iPro. So I will be doing some iPro ones as well, because the techniques are going to be the same thing for you as well. So I will record those as I'm doing them. What I've also done for Mark is we created a, probably need to rename this actually. We're going to call it SEO, keyword research, and landing pages. Okay, so does everyone understand what a landing page is? So give me a thumbs up if you know what a landing page is, because it's quite important. If you don't know what a landing page is, then we actually we're a bit stuck from day one and we need to explain that. So let me know if you know what a landing page is. It's not to be rude or anything, but it's important that you've got a good understanding. Okay, so no feedback on that. So I'm assuming, okay, I've got someone who doesn't. So a landing page is a key page that is going to drive traffic to your website. So Mark has got a page called Villas in Italy with a fenced off pool. That is a key landing page. It's in the second level. So you've got your home page is your very first key landing page. And then any page that is secondary to that would be considered a key landing page. And it's where we want to focus our energies on in getting them ranking. So what I've done is I created a sitemap page, and we have got homepage as one key landing page. Destinations, which I said is not set up correctly at the moment, so I'm going to reconfigure this. If you need me to zoom in at all, let me know. I will zoom in anyway. And then one of his key landing pages, which he scores pretty well. He's in top 10. And if we can get him into the top 5 positions, it's going to be a real boost in his traffic, is the Amalfi Coast. And then one of the ones that we identified today was cottages in Italy. And I've got another one which is called villas in Italy with a pool that we want to rank for. So I'm going to show you how I identified that based on ubersuggest. So ubersuggest, we're going to go into our keywords. And this shows me all of the keywords that we're tracking. And there's thousands and thousands of keywords here for holiday homes in Italy, and it gives us all of his current positions and the search volume. So what I did is I exported this to CSV, and then I imported that into this SEO planner that I recommend that you all have. It doesn't need to be complicated, but if you don't track what you're doing on your pages, you could quite happily make changes today and then tomorrow go and change them because you think it's better to do it. But so you've got to stick to the process. You can't just make a change and expect instant results. You need to leave it over time. So what I did with this, with this export is I put it into a spreadsheet and I sorted it by search for search. So let me just select all again. There we go, that's better. So I then found that we had, so we're going to ignore all these top ones because they are destination images, as searches, sorry, the same as Italian Riviera. And then we've got Villa Holidays is a good one. Currently they're going to the homepage and we're 5th and 8th. Holiday Villas in Italy and Villa Holidays in Italy, and they're going to Holiday Homes in Italy.co.uk. So the key landing page. So that is our key landing page. However, if I revert back to my sitemap, you'll see that the homepage, we're actually doing villas in Italy, Italy villas, villas in Italy. So maybe this destinations page should be, and I'll just put this as a note for now, maybe, so let me just grab the right words, Italian Villa Holidays or Italy Villa Holidays, sorry, is the one I want to use. Okay, so maybe I want to focus this page because I've put a keyword focus here of 1 to 3 keywords per page. So what I might do is focus this page on Italy Villa Holidays, and then that means I need to change my meta description and my page title. The URL will need to stay the same because it's too, we're locked in with that URL now. If it was a new website, maybe I would look to change this URL, but because that has such an impact all the way through the site, I don't want to change that at all because we don't want to lose anything that we've built up. And as I said before, Mark's website is actually doing extremely well for a lot of keywords. So we then had we noticed that on this list, we had cottages was coming up. So cottages in Italy, Mark's 13th here, and cottage in Italy, or a slightly different setup, was, so Italian cottages, for example, he's 10th, cottages Italy, he's 10th, but there's a lot of searches there. So my next suggestion was that we create a cottages in Italy landing page. And I've then created my page title, and I've created my meta description, and I've listed the keywords that we want to focus on. So hopefully now, question number 1 answered, we understand what a landing page is and why we should give them so much focus. Does that make sense, Kate? Is that, you clear with that? Cool. Okay, so I'm just going to do one more, just so that Mark has got some actions list to come straight out of this after we finish the call. So I'm going to do, based on what I saw, so I'm just going to keep a log here. So we're going to go into Inspire. The reason why I'm putting it in this format is because of the way that Mark's website is structured. So this is a new page, and based on what I've found here, I'm just going to filter this now. Villas in Italy with pool and okay, so there's 5 keywords there that we can potentially track. Villas in Italy with pool, Italy pools with villa. Okay, they're all very, very similar. So even though I've put 1 to 3, we're actually okay with keeping those as they are. So my big one is villas in Italy with pool. And then I like to do a bit of a strap line that catches their attention. And then on the meta description, we have, I've put a note here called call to action. So it's not really from an SEO perspective, but it will flag up. So if I do just show you this now. So villas in Italy with pool, this is the keyword that we're focusing on. And you can see 10 best villas in Italy, James Villa holidays, top 50 Italy villa rentals, Italian country cottages. So actually none of them came up with the word pool in, except for the paid ads. So this is our page title, and this second one is the description, the meta description. But you will notice that when the word is used, Italy villas, pool, Google actually puts them in bold, so they do stand out. So it's always good to have the keyword in your meta description as well. I've used amazing already, so we have a okay, so something like that. And then what I would then do is put the URL so that we can monitor the performance of this page. Now, what I'm going to do, just to show you how we can get that in our system, the advantage of having a spreadsheet, and I think this is really important, is that when you create a new page and you want to link the new page to an existing page, you can actually see easily what you've set it up as, so that you can make sure that when you link to that page, you're using the right keyword focus. So for example, if you have a page that's the Amalfi Coast, and you want to then link to the villas in Italy page with pool, from the Amalfi Coast page, you would actually write the link as villas in Italy with pool, and you would link that to this particular page that I've just created. Tells Google exactly that that's the page you want to rank for that particular keyword. So by having all your keywords listed out and knowing which page you want to focus on, it will stop you from having 2 or 3 pages that you are targeting the same keywords, and therefore you're confusing Google and you're diluting the power of that keyword on your own site. So I'm going to jump in, do some very quick CMS training here. Okay, and then I'm just going to update the SEO tab, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to take that, and I'm going to take that, and I'm going to put that into there. I'm going to save and publish, and on this one now I'm just going to do a property auto selector. I'm not actually going to do the content on this page for Mark. Mark's going to do that himself, but I will just put and private pool, yes, okay. So straight away, we now have a new landing page. So this would be a key landing page. And it will have a list, it'd be quite big probably on Mark's, it'll have a list of all the properties that have a private pool. Whenever you create a new page, it has to build the cache, so it takes a little bit of time, and there's all of our properties come through, and as you can see there's over 20 pages here, but Mark can now start putting some extra content on here. And then what he needs to do is he needs to start linking to this page from other pages within the website, and that will give this page a lot more weight, and it will also ensure that Google indexes it quickly. A couple of tools that you need if you're doing your own SEO, which are absolutely critical. And I must admit, I haven't set one of them up. So analytics, I've got set up for Mark on here. So that's a key one. The other one is called Search Console, which I don't have. I'm not sure if I have Mark on that. I'm just going to double check now. Maybe I do. Yes, I do. Okay. So once you create a new landing page, I'm not going to do this one now, but you have the ability to do a URL inspection. So let's just put one of his other pages in actually that's already been on. So we'll do his 2021 collection. So if you create a new page and you do this, see how it comes up with request indexing? If you click that, you're telling Google you've made changes to that page and I want you to go and index it again and re-rank my page. So you're forcing. Now Google will be indexing your website all the time, but it may miss this particular URL. So if you were creating, I would even do it for your property pages actually, especially if it's a new property and you want to get you want to impress your owner, I would get into the habit of indexing these pages as you add them in. If you forget, Google is going to index it over time, but if you tell Google that there's been a change, it will go much quicker to that particular page. So you're going to get better results. So Search Console, you need to ensure is set up, and you need to ensure that your Google Analytics is set up. We have within iPro the ability to track your Google Analytics in here and set up your Google Capture, etc. So you put your Google Analytics code into here, register your webmaster code as well, so that everything is tracked. So if you're not getting data, if you've never set that up before, then please have a look there and go ahead and get it set up. If you're having any problems, then by all means drop a support ticket, though I would suggest that setting up this kind of stuff is actually outside of your subscription, but if we can point you in the right direction, or arrange a consultancy call for it, so just let us know. Okay, any questions so far? Are you happy for me to go through? And Mark has kindly allowed us to look at the traffic, so we can see what other opportunities we can see within the data that we've currently got. Okay, so within Google Analytics, there is a whole host of data that you can do. There's some really good advanced stuff that we can do in terms of e-commerce. Yep, let me zoom in. But today we are definitely sticking on the basics. We're not going to go into advanced stuff. I mean, in terms of the advanced stuff that we can do, it does require, it's a one-by-one. We can't do it as a one-to-many, but you can basically set up your e-commerce so you can actually track how much money you're making through the website, which means that you could actually track that back to your Google ads. You could actually track it back to your social campaigns, etc. And you can see how much, how many bookings you've created off a specific campaign, and what the value was that what the value of that was to you based on the price of the villa. That data will only work on if you're doing instant bookings. If you're just doing an inquiry, that would just be a goal that you've had an inquiry based on any campaign that you've done. So I'm not going to go into audience, although actually, no, I am going to go into audience because I think that's really, really important at the moment, based on what's happening in the current market. So at the moment, what I've done, sorry, I should have said that at the beginning. So in the top right-hand corner here, I have looked at the 1st of January to the 14th of May. So I always go one day previous. I don't include today's because it's not a fair comparison. And I've compared to the same period of last year. Now, one of the things that I noticed with Mark is that if we took January and February and the first half of March, his traffic was over double to what it was last year. In many areas, he's still way above, but you can see a massive drop in traffic from March onwards. So looking at where all of the guests are coming from, Mark actually has quite a lot in Europe, but as you can see, nowhere near as much as what is in the UK. So the UK sessions are much higher. There is traffic from America, but realistically, something that is going to need to be worked on is, can we get bookings from these local areas, for example, in these regions where people can drive down. That may be a good thing to look at sort of moving forward, but at the moment with this session we're only looking at the UK traffic. But I would definitely, so audience, geo, and then location, and just have a look to see where your traffic is coming from, because if you can increase that from the domestic areas, that is going to help it during the tough times that we're in now, whereas at the moment we're just going to focus on future planning, and getting your websites in the best place possible, so that once travel resumes as normal, you're getting your customers from the best places. Okay, so acquisition. If I go to overview, this tells me where the traffic is coming from. And as you can see, organic traffic is by far the biggest supplier of Mark's traffic. Direct, so that would be people that know the website, have maybe clicked from an email that's been sent from the system, or they've just gone straight to the domain. They've actually typed it into Google. Email marketing, social, and then referrals, so that's other websites. But organic search has always been the biggest driver for Mark. Email marketing, you cannot underestimate the power of email marketing. And obviously we're not in a sales opportunity really at the moment, but what you can be doing is sharing some of your best tips and tricks of that destination. So, you know, if there's a beautiful walk, if there's a fantastic restaurant, if there's a you know, a lovely beach or a secluded cove, or an activity that they could be doing, you know, you could do it as a, we wish you were here, or I remember this 2 years ago, I did this trip and it was fantastic. Can't wait to be able to get back to there, or this spot is waiting for you. As soon as those flights are released, you know, you can imagine yourself being here. You're not directly selling to them. You're not telling them that this villa is available for £500 and it's COVID-19 cleaned, etc. But you are inspiring them for that destination. So the more you can email, you know, once a week would be sufficient. We're not talking once a day. We're talking once a week. That's just going to get people on your site and bookmarking your site, and, you know, and dreaming and wishing. And then as soon as that confidence returns, they're going to be there ready to book. So I would definitely be focusing on your email. And really, that email marketing is the same kind of message to put over your social. But your social is probably there for more at the moment of, oh, I don't know this company, but they've got a Facebook page. Oh, there's the owner. Gives you that little bit of trust and protection for them to have the confidence in booking with you, because they think if anything goes wrong, I can get hold of them directly through this particular channel. So when you drill down now into channels, it actually gives you the numbers. And we can see that direct traffic, you know, we're down a very small amount, but actually, as I said, because it's been such a drop in the last 8 weeks, we would have been way above. And the same for the organic search as well. We would have been way above where we were last year. So from that perspective, we were on the right trajectory. But we've now got to adjust. Now, I wouldn't, with Google Analytics, as you can see, we've got 7,903, and then it brings through some content, but I would take this with a pinch of salt, and actually I wouldn't go down this far, because Google Analytics now hide that from us. Whereas, you know, going back years, they used to give us accurate data for keywords. They've taken the keyword research out of it, really. So I wouldn't recommend trusting that data. So where I want to go to now is the site content. And this is where we can combine what we found before to, you know, what we're currently doing. And are there any quick wins that we can identify that's gonna help us get more bookings and get better bookings? And really, I spoke to Mark about this beforehand, just to make sure, because you might have some pages on your site that you rank quite well on, but actually the properties that you've got there are not your best, and therefore you don't want to push them, or it's relatively new, so you've only got small properties. So it, you know, sometimes even though the stats are telling you this is a good area for you to push, you may know that it's not a good area to push. So you've got to use your own knowledge here. You know, the data is there to direct you, but if you know more, then you obviously don't just blindly follow the data. So what we're seeing here is the homepage is obviously the big one. So that's got the majority of our traffic. The Amalfi Coast is our number 2, which is great because that's a big destination for Mark, and it's one that we want to push. Now, if I go into my keyword research here, let's go to top pages on here. Ubersuggest, as you can see, gives us the same data. So it's put the Amalfi Coast as number 2, it's put Lake Garda as number 3, and Puglia. And we've obviously got one here with private pools has come through. We've got ski regions, etc. Yeah, so Lake Garda is the same. We've got Puglia. So it's matching up pretty much the same. But the one that we want to focus our energy on is the Amalfi Coast. And if I look at the So I'm just going to come up to okay, so when you put in villas in the Amalfi Coast, you can see that we've got lots of keyword suggestions that come up. All of them with relatively good searches. You know, the lowest are coming into 50 now. But we've got a number of keywords there that we can actually, that we can focus on. We've also got, well, not really a question. So I wouldn't really, it's just a key phrase. But as you can see, villas in Amalfi Coast, villas in the Amalfi Coast, villas in Amalfi Coast for rent, to rent, villas for rent in Amalfi Coast. So they're all very similar keywords, but they've got slight tweaks on them. So the idea is here that you can focus on the big ones. These two here would be our two big ones. But in the content, we would mention all of these keywords. Potentially, we'd separate the luxury one out and create a new landing page there. But what I did we'd actually be able to select all and then sort. So what I can see here, so we've got apartments, we've got holiday apartments, then we've got holiday homes, holiday rentals, but we've got the villas starting here, for example. And you can see that Mark is in 5th, 9th, 8th, 10th, 4th, 5th, 7th, 5th, 6, 7, 2, 2, 2. So basically, he's ranking very well, but he's not in the top 1 spots, and he's not consistently in the top 5 and the top 3 for a whole variety of keywords there. So, and yet it's the second best landing page on his website. So this would be a whole area now that we would build out to focus on it like in a pyramid structure. So I'll just use the sitemap to show you. So we've got our Amalfi Coast, and we've got villas with pools, which we're going to do. But what we would then look to do, and Mark has already started this actually, so we'd have Amalfi Coast travel guide. And then that would actually come in. So I'll do it as a level down. So we then have things to do. Okay. You then have the weather as was an example that he's put in. Restaurants. We're going to have a Amalfi Villas page, which we've got, and we're going to have an Amalfi Apartments. We're going to have a Luxury Villas, Amalfi Coast. So the idea is you actually break it down. The other one that he's actually put in is the regions of the towns, or regions strokes towns. And all of those will link back to the main Amalfi pages. So what you're doing to Google is you're creating a hierarchy, and you're giving priority to the top level, which basically means that Google will see that if you take the word Amalfi, the primary one for this type of business would be Amalfi Villas as an example. But it would then say, well, okay, but Amalfi restaurants, Amalfi weather guide, things to do in Amalfi Coast. All of a sudden, Google will see that there's a theme here, that anything to do with Amalfi, this particular website is a key domain and a key authority for that particular topic and any related topics. And what we have within the CMS to back this up, Mark has created an explore section. So we've got explore, then we've got Amalfi Coast, When we come into the Amalfi Coast, you can see that we then have the town Amalfi, another town Atrani, etc. And within here, we then have specific content about that particular town. And what we then use is we use the internal linking to promote back to previous pages. So let's just see what he's done on this one. So yeah, it's going to the top level. And we've also then got a list of featured villas as well. So some favorite villas for that particular destination. So from a user perspective, we're not building content just for Google. The key thing is you are building content for the user, but you're doing it in a way that is structured so Google knows exactly what the page is about. Any questions there? No? Okay. Okay. So let's go back to my all pages again. What I'm going to do this time, so I'm just going to look at my filter. I'm going to take the current week. So let's do the 7th to the 14th. And I'm going to compare that to the previous period. So the previous week, basically. So the 29th to the 6th. And we'll see if there's been any change in the results. So you can see homepage has dropped slightly. The Amalfi Coast has dropped, but it's still number 2. Lake Garda is still there. Puglia is still there. Tuscany is there. So that's shifted up a little bit. You'll see that actually we've got another landing page here, large villas in Italy for groups, the Amalfi Coast. So there's he's divided that category into various regions as well. What I would be looking for on this particular page now is, can we use that page to generate traffic to other pages? So let's just bring this up. Sorry, just one thing I did there. These are little links to the website. So you click those and it will take you straight to the web page. So what I'm looking for now is to see what Mark has done on this page that would promote our Amalfi Coast page. So if I hover over here, it's taking me to, so I've got the Amalfi Coast here. Now, this is a perfect example of where we can make an instant improvement on our SEO rankings. So you'll see that he's used the word Amalfi Coast, but actually if I go back to my keyword planner, you'll see that the Amalfi Coast, I want to use Amalfi Coast villas. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go and make this change now. So let's go. Okay, so there's the keyword. So I'm going to click onto that and I'm going to change this to Amalfi Coast villas are filled with spectacular. No, this is where you have to be a little bit careful. I don't want to make it spammy. So I will just have to read this text to see how I can get my phrase in that I want to use. And actually, this is just a title, so I can quite happily put Amalfi Coast Villas there. And what I'm now going to do is, okay, so the Amalfi Coast Villas. Okay, so just a slightly tweak of the opening there, and I've managed to get a human readable keyword phrase in that's going to link back to that page. So by using Google Analytics, I can identify pages that are currently ranking, are getting traffic directly from Google, and how can I then put a link on that page to help me boost another page? And that's what you want to be doing regularly. There's no point in optimizing pages that aren't getting any traffic. But likewise, if you create a new page, we know, for example, that the Amalfi Coast page is a key page. It gets a lot of traffic. So if there's anything that we create that is related to that particular page, we should try and link to it from that particular page. You can also, this is more for people that use the iPro website. If I click onto the Amalfi Coast, but it is available for the strategy is available for everyone. We have something called sidebar widgets. So these you can add onto a page, and you might keep it there for a month, you might keep it there for 2 months, you might keep it there for a year, but you can then change it and switch it. You can keep updating it, and these appear on the right hand side. Whenever you make a change, as I say, in iPro, it has to rebuild the cache, so it takes a little bit of a change. So while that's loading, I'll just answer Ricardo's question. Link these info pages back to 100%. You should. So like if I write a guide about why I should go to Madeira, or what walks that we recommend, so I might write up about the walk, where you should stop, what you should see, what you should look out for. These are the villas that I recommend if you love walking holidays. And then I would actually link them into certain villas. If you want to see all our villas in Madeira, click here. Well, I wouldn't use click here. To view all our villas in Madeira, click this link, and it would be all of that would be a link back to them. And also I may have on the right hand side here, like we've got this big banner, I might do view our Madeira villa collection, for example, and I would then click that through. So on that page I've got more links going back to my key landing page. So we've now got our Amalfi Coast villas, and that is clickable straight through to our page there. View the blah blah blah, click here to return to the villas suitable for groups page. Villas suitable for groups. Again, I would probably use a better keyword here. What I haven't checked on this page, which is this one here, villas in Italy for groups. Villas in Italy for groups. I mean, I haven't done any research on this, but if that is the phrase that we want to focus on, I want to get that in on this link as well. Just go back. So that is a link. Okay, so villas in Italy for groups. View, browse all our large villas. Oh, sorry, that's the wrong one actually. Let me just undo that. I'll come off there. This one, that's the one. Okay, having the extra word in there, suitable for groups, is not a bad thing, because you don't want to always use a perfect match. It's good to have perfect match sometimes, but the rest of the time, just having similar phrases is a very good strategy, because then you're definitely not keyword spamming, and Google now knows the difference between similar keywords. So yeah, it doesn't have to be an exact match, and we would always recommend that you don't use an exact match. If you're doing a featured villa, so a couple of questions on landing pages, and linking back, if I wanted to recommend, I would always, if I'm doing a write-up on something that's not about the villas and I'm trying to encourage people to come to your destination, I would want to give the impression, and obviously more than the impression really, that I've cherry-picked the best villas for that style holiday. So, you know, if you wanted to talk about the amazing views, you wouldn't pick a villa that didn't have any views. So you would make sure that you cherry pick the best villas so that they think, wow, these are the three. Oh, right, they're fully booked. Okay, I'm going to book a year in advance, 2 years in advance, 3 years in advance, because they're the best. That's my perfect holiday. And you're telling me these are your 3 best villas for that particular style of holiday. I'm going to book this in advance. So that's kind of my thinking. And then for the people that are like, well, actually, I'm quite flexible, they'd click your view all properties and they'd go and see, they'd book another villa. So yes, I would use the property picker. If we were doing an automated page, like we're doing like I've done here, which was the villas with pool, my auto selector, I just want to show all of them. Again, Mark might decide once he's got this page up and together, he might go one level further and he might say, well, okay, I'm going to choose my 10 best villas with a pool to go onto this key landing page. These are my real best properties that I can offer. But then I'll allow people to drill down and we'll look at the Amalfi Coast villas with pools, Tuscany villas with pools, Puglia villas with pool, and then we'll break it down. And on those ones, because there's less properties, then we use the auto selector again. So it all depends on how many properties you've got. If you've only got 2 properties for that type, you use an auto selector, so it saves you work. If you've got hundreds of properties, you need to give them your best options. And sometimes your best options might be that, well, I've just taken this property on, I want to give it maximum exposure across my website, so you put that new property on. Google loves it if you keep changing your content. The best thing you can do is make sure that you dedicate time every single week to your website. You know, is it an hour a day? Can you allow up to an hour a day? If not an hour a day, can you do a 4-hour session per week? You know, or 2 90-minute sessions per week. You really need to look at how you can fit that into your day. Or if you've got a team of people, or you've got someone who works with you, get them onto these training sessions. They do 90 minutes, you do 90 minutes, but you make sure you don't overlap and you don't do the same pages. Your website will continually to improve each and every week. Yeah, so again, I think I've answered your question there, Ricardo, in terms of linking those in and coming back to the landing page 100%. The whole point of putting the content in is you're not a destination guide. None of you are destination guides, but you are inspiring your guests and you're telling Google that you're experts within your destination. That's why you're writing that content, and that's why you would write blogs as well. So a great idea would be, you've got 3 levels of content here. You have got your properties, which is where you get your money from. So you create landing pages, you know, villas with pools, sea views, hot tubs, perfect for couples, whatever it may be, pet friendly if you're doing pet friendly, all of these things you can do. But then you can start looking at your destinations and what people can do while they're on holiday with you. And then you go to the blog, and the blog, you can put another sort of angle on it where you can say, oh, we went and stayed here. This is a story from a guest that stayed with us. This is what they did while they were with us. This was our experience of doing this new tour. We've just taken on this fantastic new property. This is why we chose it for our portfolio. And then you actually put a personal message, like a story about that particular property. And then that blog post, you link to the destination page, you link to the resort page, you link to the property page, etc. And maybe some related blogs as well, where you've done the nearby walks or so on. So every time you write a bit of content, you have to follow this structure. So I'm going to write this down actually, so everyone can take this away. I'll put it into the chat window. So when you are writing your content, so the first thing you have to do is look at who's the content for. You then, once you know who the content's for and what the objective is, you then look at the page title. You look at the meta description. And that you should have had your keyword focus there. Once you've got all of that, you then want to look at your related content. What can I link to internally? Okay. The other thing you may want to do, especially if you're doing a destination guide or you're writing about a particular tour activity, is do the external link as well. Okay. So that's what you should follow on your content. Any questions on that section? Okay. So I'm going to get Mark will tidy this up afterwards because this was just my notes. But to increase his traffic, as I said, we've got these 3 key landing pages, but based on what we're seeing with Amalfi Coast, this would be a priority based on the fact that I know he's not in the top 3 positions. There's loads of keywords that he can rank for. So he's got a few here that he's ranking for 2 7s. But just to give you some stats, if you're number 1 on Google for a key phrase, you will get 90% of the traffic. If you're number 2, it drops dramatically. Sorry, that's wrong. I get my stats right. The top 3 positions get 90% of the traffic. So you need to be in the top 3 positions. That basically means that when you go from 5 to 3, you can literally double your traffic from that particular keyword. So it shows that for Mark's content strategy, he could spend the next 4 weeks just focusing on the Amalfi Coast. And once he's got all of his keywords in the top 3, top 5 positions, then he can move on to the next one. I would still like him to work on these 2 because I think these 2 are really important for for the keywords as well because of where he is and their bigger searches. But then it would be the Amalfi Coast, and I would just put all of my resource into those 3 categories, and I wouldn't worry about anything else whatsoever. Maybe one caveat onto that is the property pages. When you're adding a property, you should always have your SEO hat on. And I think the next session I'm going to do is I'm going to do a property one. We're going to focus on the property, how you should focus your SEO when uploading a property. I've got a couple of questions to answer, and then we will be coming to a close. So I'm going to leave 5 minutes for open questions because from my perspective, I've given Mark a lot of work to do there, but hopefully he's got a clear understanding of what needs to be done. So before you answer that question, Mark, I'm just going to go to the questions on the list. So external links and Google. For internal linking, should I open a new? I would stay on the same page. You don't want to have people. Actually, I'm going to change that. I think when you're going from a destination guide to a villas page, or a property page, it actually can be quite handy to open up a new tab because if they're not keen on what they've gone to, they've still got the same thing there. So it's kind of it's a personal preference. It's not going to have any impact on SEO, that's for sure. Content on a page. So if you are doing a destination guide, a walkthrough guide, a things to do guide, you need a minimum of 600 words. So that's your absolute minimum, but you can go way over 2,000 words quite happily. It all depends on what you're trying to do. So the last few blogs that I've done for iPro have all been over 2,000 words because I want them to be informative and educational. And they're not just a snapshot, but it all depends on actually what you're writing. So if I was doing like the Amalfi Coast Villas page, I actually only need a paragraph of about 200 words, 400 words. The rest of the content is going to come from all the properties themselves. So I wouldn't have to focus on huge amounts of content. But a destination page, I want to do anything from 600 to 2,000 words. So the next question, external links, if we send guests to a water park, for e.g., are we then in danger of losing? Now that one, you would always, when you take them off site, so an external website, 100% you do an open in a new window. You do not. So to open in a new window within iPro, let's just go on to here. So if I just highlight that a second, click onto there, we have a simple drop down here, open in a new window, blank. You select that one there instead, and that will then direct them off to the other website without losing what you're currently on. But in terms of worrying about losing your traffic, there's no worry with that at all. What you're finding with these content pages, you're doing it to make your site stronger, but you will get a huge amount of traffic that is not interested in booking your villas. They're just learning about you. They've just found you interesting. Okay, now I go on to something else. But you're casting your net far and wide, kind of thing. So now they've heard of you. They may come back to you next year. They may come back to you next month. But realistically, you might have 1,000 people that go onto those pages and actually 10 book immediately. The rest will book over the next couple of years. So that's kind of the way to think of it. So I would have no fear of people bouncing off my website and going onto a related website. But I would potentially be telling the people that I'm linking to that I've linked to them if they, have a villa section on their website or have a partner section. I'd be happy to put my company on there, and then you can link back to me. So I would always contact that company and see if you could get a reciprocal link back. But I certainly wouldn't worry about losing that guest. Okay. So if there's put your questions in. I'm just going to do a quick summary. If there are any questions, I'll go through those. But if there are no questions, I'm going to close off there. But just for my summary today, where I have looked at is I've looked at my acquisition just to see kind of where the traffic is coming from. And I've really only focused on the organic search. As I said, email marketing, I'd like to see this a lot higher on Mark's system. His traffic was very good until the crisis that we're in. The other thing that's very good is his bounce rate is very low. Just so you're aware, social is always going to be much higher just by the nature of social. So anything under 80% on social is brilliant. But anything under 50% on your bounce rate is brilliant. If you're up to 60%, you're doing pretty good. Over 60%, that's when you need to look at, okay, what do I need to tweak here? And you can go through that on a page by page basis as well. We haven't got time to do that today for this one, but it would be something to definitely look at to see what tweaks you can make on pages to get that bounce rate down. If you start writing content and you see that your bounce rate is really high, you need to look at how you structured that content. Have you just made content for content's sake? And actually it's not very pleasing to the people to actually read. The other thing that I'd be looking at is the time on site. So anything over 3 minutes is good. There's a rule that some people only stay on for 30 seconds, but in the type of websites that you guys are offering, I would expect to see something in the region of 3 to 5 minutes. And the good news is for Mark, he's actually increased his by a minute on average per person. Then the other thing I'd be looking at is the landing pages. So we go to site content, behavior, site content, then landing pages. And we're looking at which pages are already doing well for us. If you haven't got a lot of traffic, 1 week is probably not going to be enough at all. So you need to look at a longer period of time. So let me get rid of the compare to, and let's go back to the whole of last year as well. So we go all the way through. Okay, so now we've got Lake Garda, Amalfi Coast, Puglia, ski regions, villas in Italy for groups. You see that's been a good page for him. And that's where I say these landing pages, villas with pool, cottages with hot tubs, pet-friendly cottages, cottages by the sea, cottages next to the beach, etc. Whatever it may be that suits your business, these are big wins for you on your website, and especially for your destination. If you get the destination in there as well, you know, you're really going to get specific traffic, which you've got a good selection of properties for, and they can choose out of your whole collection that meet that exact criteria. So by opening this up, I now know that we can focus on these areas, but time-wise, we've decided Amalfi Coast, a couple of extra ones, and then we can, if once I've done that, then I can start looking at these other ones, and you would just filter out. Definitely, you cannot do everything from day one. You have to plan this in stages. So Mark's strategy is going to be Amalfi Coast, and then once we're happy with that, then we move on to the next one. We don't start scattergun approach and doing a little bit on this page, a little bit on that page, a little bit on that page. There's no point in doing that at all. Have a good understanding of SEO. So when you create a page, you set it up nicely, but you focus on the internal linking and content creation based on a topic by topic basis. So that was the Google Analytics. And for now, that is all really you need to focus on for the very basics of Google Analytics. Search Console, if you want to track through indexing your pages, you go to URL inspection. And then the other thing that we used was our ubersuggest. And if I come into here, I looked at my keywords, so my traffic analyzer, my top keywords, and I exported this to CSV, and this allowed me to start drilling down to see what opportunities I've got by scrolling through here and looking at this search volume column and the positions. So it does all the work for me. I don't need to go through and track all these keywords. Anything with a 10, I'm like, right, okay, they're going to be getting very, very little traffic, but actually, so cottages, Italy, 1,000 searches, we only get about 10 of, we only get about 11 because we're in position 10. If we were in position 5, we're going to get 100 visits as an example. So they're my opportunities that I can work on. So this is in the keywords by traffic analyzer keywords. By looking at this data, I can spot opportunities, and then I can build my content around that. And you can see with Amalfi Coast, we're in 5th, 7th, 4th. So if I could just tweak it, if we could, with this content that Mark's going to do now, if he can get 5s and 3s and 2s and 1s, his Amalfi Coast traffic will double once more, if not treble. Okay. Guys, I could talk for hours and hours on this. So I am limiting this one to, we've just gone over 60 minutes, but that's what I am limiting it to today. So I hope that was useful. There's been no questions added to this. So if you want to, if you do have a question, just ask it now, because this is the last chance. But otherwise, please do give me a thank you or a thumbs up if you can't do a thumbs up, just to let me know it was worthwhile. And let me know if you would like to be involved in the next one. And well, first of all, if you'd like me to do another one, if you found it useful. Fantastic. Okay then, guys. Appreciate your time. Thank you very much, Mark, for lending us your website for today's session. You're hopefully going to be busy now on this one to get some of those pages for the Amalfi Coast, so that in 2 weeks' time we can see if there are more 1 to 3s for that particular destination. Brilliant. Okay then, guys, we'll have a lovely weekend, and stay safe and keep your heads up and heads held high, ready for the tourism industry to bounce back strong. Take care. Bye then.